Hello and welcome to Newsroom Live on GHOne TV. I am Nadeema Umar Uthman. The news is coming to you from our studios at the Platinum Place here in Accra. I am Nadeema Umar Uthman. Here's what's coming up in the next 60 minutes. Third accused in the controversial ambulance purchase trial, Richard Jatma's lawyers filed for an order to have charges against him dropped in the wake of accusations that the Attorney General tried coercing him to skew his testimony. Also ahead, controversial activist Elorm Ababio, popularly known as Umar Governor, gets called to the Ghanaian bar after previous attempts were rejected by the General Legal Counsel. Investigative journalist Manasseh Azuri says Communications Minister's explanation for the sole source contract award to Next-Gen Infraco is untenable. In business, Ghana's cocoa export declines by 33% between 2021 and 2023. And on the international front, Trump rages at verdict as he is found guilty in historic case. We have details of these and many others coming up in the next 60 minutes. Stay with us. Many thanks for tuning in once again. Remember, you can watch the bulletin across all our social media platforms at GHOne TV. Now, Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tiayeboa says the Office of the Attorney General is in support of the request by the first accused, Casey Atuforsen, through his lawyers, praying the Chief Justice, Her Ladyship, Justice Arabatokonu. Atuforsen, in his request, said a live telecast of the trial will ensure a fair trial. Speaking with Natalie Ford on News Tonight on Thursday, Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tiayeboa lent the AG's support to the demand, but was quick to add that if same is granted, then the hearing of the case must be done on day-to-day basis to allow for an expedited adjudication.
We have no objection to the request because we believe in transparency, we believe in accountability, we believe in fairness and openness. And so if the first accused person desires that this matter be telecast live on TV and the CJ is minded to grant same, we have no objection to it. Because the Attorney General has on many occasions intimated that matters of public interest may, if possible, be telecast live for people to also know and make first-hand assessment of the proceedings. And this will help in curing any misreporting of the curious reporting. So we have no objection to it. But we are also even saying that if we're going to have this one broadcast live, we may even add by saying that we have day-to-day hearing, so we can expedite this matter as soon as possible. It's subject to the decision of the Chief Justice because we believe in transparency. We believe in accountability. In any event, this particular matter is heard in the public space because in the courtroom, everybody has access to say. It's not heard in camera. So if they think it's to escalate it for all manner of people to view it live on television, we have no problem with it.
Meanwhile, the third accused in the ongoing ambulance trial, Richard Jatma, has filed a court application seeking to have the charges against him dismissed or, alternatively, have the proceedings against him stayed. In the application, which was submitted on Thursday, May 30, 2024, by his lawyers, Richard Jatma argues that the charges and proceedings initiated by the Attorney General Godfred Yeboadame, constitutes an abuse of court processes and violates the obligations set in the 1992 Constitution. He contends that the Attorney General is misusing his constitutional powers by prosecuting him without justification. Richard Jatwa also claims that in private conversations, the Attorney General admitted that there is no case against him. This assertion further supports Richard Jatwa's argument that the prosecution is. Let's stay a while longer on this developing issue, and we've been engaged and we've been joined by Dr. Frederick Odo, who is a governance analyst. Good morning, me. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Odo. The politicians have managed to move the conversation on the ongoing ambulance trial from the courtroom to the public space despite the judge's warning. Just how worrying is this? Dr. Odo?
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
You heard my question.
No, it wasn't clear. Can you come again, please?
Right. So I'm asking that the politicians have managed to move the conversation on the ongoing ambulance trial from the courtroom to the public space. That is despite the judge's warning. Just how worrying is this?
It's extremely worrying. You see, our whole democracy is founded on the principle of rule of law. And one key aspect of rule of law is the court system, or what the judiciary does. However, we know that the judiciary should perform their functions without politicization. However, over the years, whenever there's a matter concerning politicians, they move away from the legal issues involved and begin to run commentary based purely on political reasons. I mean, if from nothing, the two presidential election petitions have indicated to us that our politicians will not allow the court system to follow their normal order. They will play to the gallery. They will try to twist issues. And when you have somebody with political exposure arrested for particularly for corruption, we don't get to hear the facts of the matter, rather the political commentary that goes on, and then it muddies the whole issue. So I am not convinced either way that we're going to get the transparency and the kind of the openness we require. The politicians are going to run their political commentary on the legal issues, and at the end of the day, we don't get to appreciate the legal issues that we need to understand. So at the end of the day, the open transmission, the purpose of the open transmission become lost. So I'm not too enthused about all this process.
Dr. Odo, what should be the solution then? Because the judge on this case issued a very stern warning and asked the parties involved to be very circumspect on how they comment on this matter. But yet again, we've seen both parties, that is the NDC and MPP, come out with what they call the evidence versus, accusations and counter-accusations. How then should this be addressed?
I can hardly hear a word.
Dr. Odo, can you hear me now? Dr. Odo?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Right. I'm asking that, in your view, what should be the solution? Because the judge on this matter gave a stern warning that both parties should be circumspect on how they address or make commentary on the ongoing trial. But we've seen both the NDC and the NPP continuously make commentaries despite her warnings. Then what should be the solution?
The solution is that I think it is more political. I don't see any solution because I think it is more a political gamemanship than any expectation of getting fairness in the judiciary. Because the politicians themselves deliberately do it. At the end of the day, they are all looking at the next election. It's not about curbing corruption. They are not interested in curbing corruption or prosecuting anyone. The whole thing is about the next election. So they will do whatever it takes, because if the people at the top will not be talking about it, there will be people hiding on some obscure media platforms making commentaries that even if I mean, these people will get to reach the base they want to reach. So I do not personally see any solution to the problem until our politicians begin to appreciate the need to respect our democratic principles, the need to appreciate that the court system is not a political avenue for them to play their politics. I don't think there is any solution to this whole problem. Right. You may even jail some of them. You may do whatever you want with them. But I think Ghanaians should begin to see politicians for what they are.
Right. Thank you for those insights. Dr. Frederick Odro is a governance analyst sharing his thoughts on the commentaries made by both the NDC and the MPP with regard to the ongoing ambulance trial. But away from that, after her previous attempts to get called to the Ghanaian bar was rejected by the General Legal Counsel, Elorm Ababio, who is popularly known as Ama Governor, has finally been enrolled into the bar, together with 180 others, including the founder of GHOne and renowned journalist Gifty Afenyedazi. The controversial Ama Governor can now practice her beloved profession. Murtala Inusa is our legal affairs correspondent, and he joins us for more on this development. Murtala, paint a picture for us. What was the scene like when Ama Governor was finally called?
Well, Nadeema, it was a moment of excitement for Ama Governor, Elorm Ababio. That's a private name that many know her to be. But of course, if we come to the public or the media space, Ama Governor is a name that everybody would know her to be. In fact, when her name was mentioned, it was characterized with a lot of applause from the other members who were also here to be called. In fact, what I can tell you is that Ama is very exciting about today. Ama is expressing a lot of joyous moments. Is interacting with family members, and everything was evidence that she has been yearning for this day to come, and finally the day has come. But unfortunately, Ama could not express how the day has been to her on camera, because she tells me that she's been advised to stay away from interviews and all that. But as you indicate earlier, she was in the highest spirit of enjoyment. The family members, relatives have characterized here. And of course, she's not the only person. Gifty Afenyedazi tells me that for the past 10 years, she's been trying to, get these things along the way. If you look at the LLB, she studied, she went to the Ghana School of Law, Makola. She had to try many times, but of course, perseverance, determination, and the willingness to push on has actually resulted to today coming as one of the persons who have been called to the bar. But of course, today is the day that families are making merry, families are happy, new persons who have been called to the bar are also happy, photo sections and all that. And my interaction with them, and one thing ran through, it has not been an easy task at all. The journey has been very tough, the journey has been very rough. So these are some of the things that the new lawyers who have been called to the bar today have been expressing. And by the number of today is 182 new lawyers have been called to the bar. And the Chief Justice, Gertrude Arabai Sabasaki, who performed the ceremony, urged them to show competence, urged them to go out there, serve society. They shouldn't see the profession as an avenue to challenge each other by way of who knows the law better, but it's about who can serve and serve the people well to ensure that society becomes best of all, society benefits from them. So Nadeema, if you come to the Accra International Conference Center, the 2024 mini-call has been held. 182 persons have been called to the bar, and Ama Governor, or Elorm Ababio, that many know her to be Ama Governor, is one of them after having a failed attempt during the main call in October last year, because the General Legal Counsel is of the considered view, or was of the considered view, that she exhibited certain attitudes, certain traits that is not in line with what the profession requires. But this time around, her application to be called to the bar was successful, right. And today she has been called to the bar.
Right, Murtala, the judiciary has come under intense scrutiny in the last few weeks with regard to conduct and how some cases are sort of run in the courts. Did the CJ give some advice to the new lawyers with regard to ethics and how they should conduct themselves in the profession? Murtala? unfortunately, we've lost Mutala, but Mutala Inusa is our legal affairs correspondent, giving us some insights into the 180 lawyers that we now have called to the bar in Ghana. Let's move away from that. Now, the Ghana Police Service has arrested Imran Abdullahi Gomda at Tamale in the northern region for possession of firearms and ammunition without lawful authority. The suspect was arrested at Datoyili Barrier in Tamale on Wednesday, May 29, 2024. 2 SMG rifles with 6 rounds of 9mm ammunition and 2 empty magazines were retrieved from him. The suspect is currently in custody, assisting the police with investigations. Away from issues of security, let's do health now, as the constant pain, fatigue, and swelling that characterize the life of end-stage kidney patient Rosemary Bwedu is now a thing of the past as she undergoes a surgery for a new arteriovenosus fistula. This was made possible through the benevolence of viewers of GHOne TV after the story of the 16-year-old was first shared here. An amount of 41,000 cedis was presented to her to cover the cost of dialysis. Here's a report by my colleague Elorm Ababio.
The 16-year-old end-stage kidney patient, Rosemary Bwedu, had to grapple with the abnormal condition due to a femoral catheter on her right thigh to temporarily facilitate her dialysis session. But the procedure, according to doctors, is limited and dangerous and can only last for a week on the thigh. Doctors say if the femoral catheter is left for more than the stipulated time, it can lead to complications such as infections, pains, and difficulty in walking, clots forming in the vessels of the thigh, which can be fatal.
I feel very happy now, and I said thanks to all of them. God really bless them. I really appreciate wherever they took the money from. They should get it times 100 from there. God should bless them, bless their hand of work, any work that they are doing. God to continue to bless them, so they also remember me in their heart, and whenever something can, they'll still be there to help me.
Na ya nenda so say o metumi ai bi say ya mind nya me hiro mo ba bi biaro mu yo musikali na yakopom do mo na se da chin so say ya samba bio na amaka ye be say ye be ya na transplant no nti se mo so mo de mind so ya say ya bi account do akotum na se bi amboa bi ba yen so ye be pick na de account ho na ya tuna ya na transplant no.
Nonetheless, her mother was unable to get her a new arteriovenous fistula, which cost 3,500 cedis. As a result, the femoral catheter was left in her right thigh for 6 months, which gravely threatened her enfeebled health. Rosemary Bwedu on 29th May 2024 undergone a surgery for a new arteriovenous fistula through financial support from GHOne TV after airing her story Dialysis Dilemma. An arteriovenous fistula creation is a surgical procedure performed by a vascular surgeon to create a connection between an artery and a vein. The fistula is usually placed on the forearm or upper arm. This increases pressure and blood flow through the vein, which makes the vein grow larger and stronger. The enlarged vein provides easy and reliable vascular access for life-saving hemodialysis treatments.
I apologize for those gory pictures there, but thank you to all those who donated towards the surgery. Investigative journalist Manasseh Azuri-Awuni says the explanation given by Minister for Communication Esle on why the rollout of the 5G internet was awarded to NextGen Infraco Limited is untenable. Communications and Digitalization Minister Esle Ekufo shot down allegations made by the investigative journalist that the company that was awarded the contract was specifically created for this purpose because there was no existing neutral infrastructure company capable of handling the rollout at the time. Let's take a listen to her.
The benefits of 5G technology are numerous. It offers faster speeds, lowered latency, more connections, and better reliability. These improvements will support a range of new applications and services, from enhanced mobile broadband to massive machine-type communications and ultra-reliable low-latency communications. 5G will transform industries, enable new business models, and drive economic growth. 261 operators in 101 countries had launched commercial 5G services as of January this year. In Africa, 16 countries, including South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, and Tanzania, have deployed 5G services currently.
But Manasseh Azuri is still questioning why the contract was given to the company without a competitive tendering, adding that the timing raises eyebrows considering the significant nature of the contract.
I'm not satisfied, and I think she hasn't denied the fact that this company was set up 6 days before the president gave the executive approval. And this ministry actually wrote to the NCA stating the fact that they are not going to auction this 5G network and that this company is being introduced and this company should be or is eventually going to be licensed to provide those services. So it looks like even when the company was chosen, they hadn't even been licensed to provide those services. Right. And the question is, even if we didn't have an existing company to do this, could we have subjected this to an open competitive tendering? Right. That is, the ministry or government would specify what it intends to achieve with the 5G deployment, the timelines, and then allow the private sector, those in the telecom and other sectors, come up with those they want to partner to set up companies to perhaps bid, and then we get the best out of this.
The founder and leader of the Ghana Union Movement, Reverend Dr. Christian Kobna-Andrews, a.k.a. Osofo Cherabusum, has waded into the ongoing debates between the NDC and the MPP over who is the better manager of Ghana. In an exclusive interview with GHOne TV, Osofo Cherabusum asserted that both parties have made minimal progress in developing the country and should cease boasting about their records.
NDC and the MPP, they have done next to nothing in this country. Why am I saying so? If you want the country developed, you need to develop the people in the country before you talk about building the roads and the other. Building roads and the bridges are not development. Let's think of Baumia saying that we are able to give about 2.1 million jobs. What kind of jobs are you talking about? If you pick somebody to fire service, military, police, a prison service, what are you telling us? This one is emptying the purse of this country. If you want to say we are going to give somebody a job, then a job that will produce and bring something into the country. But we have not seen anything of that sort. They are just brainwashing the people in the country that we are putting up this job, we have employed this, and the employment that we are talking about is nothing. When you go to somebody's a ministry, You go to a ministry, then you see 6 people at the reception. What kind of employment are you talking about? We want a job that will going to produce for us to get satisfaction, get income out of this and the others. And we have not seen anything of that sort in the country. So I know they are just deceiving us all. And they shouldn't do any comparison. NDC and MPP shouldn't do any comparison. That you did this and I've done this and that. No. It is a matter of us building our country. But I see MPP and NDC that they are not ready to build the country, but they build the people around them. They are just giving them incentives. They give them in order to continue to campaign for them to continue to be in power.
Let's cross over to Nigeria, as some Nigerians have expressed outrage after the country's national anthem was changed with little consultation. President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday signed into law the bill to revert to Nigeria's old national anthem, which was dropped by a military government in 1978. The newly re-adopted anthem, which begins, "Nigeria, we hail thee," was written by Lillian Jean Williams in 1957 and composed by Frances Beda. Speaking on his first anniversary in office, President Tinubu said the anthem symbolized Nigeria's diversity, but many have questioned his priorities amid the cost of living crisis. Reacting to the development, some Nigerians said the country had more pressing issues such as insecurity, rising inflation, and a foreign exchange crisis.
I think it's a misplaced priority. There are more pertinent issues in the country, like for instance, the high inflation rate, insecurity, and all that. And the process which that the amendment for the conversion from the to the old national anthem went to the process. It was done so fast that faster than any bill that ever been passed in Nigeria. So it shows that they're not really interested in public view about the bill. And we also heard the present president saying that it is dream. So it's a personal dream, which is so sad. It also means that even beyond the national anthem, most of the agendas of politicians or people in leadership position in Nigeria, they're just interested in their personal interest, not the public interest.
The case of our prophet Ali Komede, showing that has such a, within few 3 days, guys, quite sure, because we have some outstanding bill that could even improve the living condition of Nigeria, which is still lagging behind and yet to be considered by the National Assembly. What that tells you is about priorities. It's very sad that our National Assembly are paying more priority to the least of our challenges at the moment here.
What we sing as national anthem should be the least of our worries. I think that our legislators who make laws, people who are supposed to be responsible for what happens, they have so much time on their hands that they can deliberate on frivolous issues rather than focus on the real things affecting Nigerians. Nigerians are complaining about the high cost of fuel, about inflation. Nigerians are complaining about insecurity.
Vice-Chancellor of University of Loughborough has allayed the fears of Ghanaians seeking to further their education in the United Kingdom over recent student visa restrictions. United Kingdom has recently made some changes to its immigration policies, including placement of restrictions on students' visas. The development has become a huge concern to prospective students seeking admission into schools in that country. But speaking to GHOne News at a media engagement, Vice-Chancellor for Loughborough University, Professor Nicholas Robert Jennings, disclosed that restriction on students' visas is under review and thus should not be an impediment in ways of those seeking to school in the UK.
It's a challenging time, I think, for everyone in UK universities around international students. We've had a significant expansion in international students wanting to come to the UK, and that's fantastic. That's what the government strategy was about. There's been a bit of a pushback against that in recent time, and there's been various sort of crackdowns on visas, particularly about dependent visas. But there's just been an independent government review about the graduate visa route, and that has confirmed that the graduate visa route is important and will stay.
You're still watching Newsroom live on GHOne TV with me, Nadeema Umar Uthman. Let's do more education as the National Union of Ghana Students, NUGS, has reiterated calls for Ghanaian students studying in Morocco to be paid their delayed stipend. According to NUGS, it continues to receive reports of hardships from Ghanaian students studying in Morocco, Hungary, and other foreign countries due to delays in the disbursement of their stipend. Here's the president of the association, Daniel Treme, upon addressing a press conference after a meeting with the education minister.
One had to do with student stipends in Morocco, Hungary, and other jurisdictions. Two had to do with the student loan trust fund and the teacher trainee allowance. One of these key things has been attended to by this government. The teacher trainee allowances have been paid. The student loan trust fund has been paid. We urge all students to get into their portals and start making withdrawals to facilitate their education and their lifestyles on the various university campuses. As a matter of urgency, we want to send this clear information out there to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to the Office of the Chief of Staff, to the Scholarship Secretariat, to also expedite plans, to also quickly pay the students in Morocco, the students in Hungary, the students in UK whose stipends has not been paid. Let's take clues from the Student Loan Trust Fund, from the Ministry of Education, the actions they've taken, and also fast-track payment of fees that are being owed by government to these students who find themselves in these jurisdictions.
Stay with us. We have more local stories when we return from this break. You're welcome back to Newsroom live on GHOne TV. Now let's bring you the latest from the world of business. Data released by the Ghana Fiscal Service on trade flow has shown a significant increase in exports in 2023 as compared to 2022. The total exports of commodities in 2023 stood at 186 billion Ghana cedis as against 144 billion Ghana cedis obtained in 2022. However, cocoa, a major export earner in the first quarter of 2024, has suffered a huge decline of 33% on year-on-year basis from 2021 to 2023. This, according to the Ghana Fiscal Service, stems from the current cocoa swollen shoot virus, among other things. Here's government statistician Professor Samuel Kobnani addressing the media earlier today.
What is of importance to us is the performance of cocoa in the first quarters of the last 4 years. In the first quarters of the last 4 years, we have consistently seen that we get the largest return from cocoa in the first quarter of every year. In 2021, the highest was in the first quarter. In 2022, the highest was in the first quarter. In 2023, the highest was in the first quarter, averaging about $895 million for these quarters in the last 3 years. Then suddenly we see a sharp decline to about $585 million in the first quarter of 2023. A significant decline from about $890 million to about $580 million in the first quarter of 2023. A situation that the agency is aware of and have found reasons that led to that, and our expectation is that we minimize the vulnerabilities associated with whatever led to it so that going forward we can sustain the returns from cocoa.
Now, the majority in Parliament has accused its minority counterparts of hypocrisy. This follows rejection of the $350 million tax waiver request for some 42 companies under the One District, One Factory initiative. The minority, through its leader, Dr. Cassio Atuforsen, on the floor of Parliament during the recent emergency sitting, questioned the basis for such waivers when government is in dire need of funds as a result of the economic crisis. But addressing the media in Parliament, Majority Leader Alexander Afenyomarkin questioned the basis for such exemptions granted under the Mahama administration, running into billions of dollars to MPs and Jatta Cement, some of which, according to him, were without parliamentary approval.
Incentives were not merely considered for the sake of being granted, but that such exemptions were necessary. This is Dr. Forsen, as he then was. Dr. Forsen, Deputy Finance Minister, as he then was. If the incentives were not granted, it will result in those investments relocating to other countries. So Dr. Forsen told us that if Ghana did not approve the $882 million to MPS, MPS will relocate to Ivory Coast or some other country. He further stressed that tax exemptions should be evaluated not only on revenue decisions, but on their economic impact. What has changed? I'm not an economist. His argument then was that we should not only look at the revenue, we should look at economic impact. Gentlemen and ladies of the press, you have heard him on the floor of the House. Why has he conveniently chosen to stay away from his own argument? Which argument is to the effect that when you grant tax waiver, it helps the economy.
That does it for business. Let's do sports now.
Many thanks for joining me on Sports Brief. My name is Monica Buhari. Now, the Black Stars of Ghana begin their training sessions today, and award-winning Ghanaian musician Ken Promise has waded into the conversation regarding the exclusion of Black Stars captain Andre Dede Ayew from the Black Stars squad for their World Cup qualifiers against Mali and the Central African Republic. His remarks follows Utuado's dropping Andre Dede Ayew for the World Cup qualifier games. In an interview with Bolare on Star FM Thursday, the Terminator hitmaker responded to the questions on football and acknowledged his admiration and respect for Andre Dede Ayew, but emphasized that Utuado's decision is crucial.
My captain, you know, it's my guy, so love and respect. But I mean, at the end of the day, the coach's decision is his decision.
That's right.
And at the end of the day, the most important thing is the team going forward. And even the day wherever he is, I know he's supporting Ghana before him, because I know how much he loves the Black Stars. You know, like I've spoken to him and I know how much it means to him to represent our country, and that's a legend we need to respect. You know what I mean?
All time.
100%.
100%. And that's great. So, I mean, in the Black Stars, you have Dede as a good friend and who?
Everyone.
Everyone.
Well, shout my boy Saleh, shout my boy.
Now, away from the Black Stars, Ghana Premier League football beckons the Vision FC Football Club as they lead Zone 3 of the Access Bank Division 1 League by 3 points over their closest rivals at Tram Divisa. The club, formed in 1999, has risen through the ranks of lower division football in Ghana and has been in the Division 1 since the 2016 season. Now coached by one of the youngest coaches in Ghana football, Hamza Obeng, Vision FC will need to secure at least 4 points to gain promotion to the Ghana Premier League. There is more in this following report. For more than 2 decades, Vision FC has been one of the well-branded lower division football clubs in the country for years. Formed in 1999 by the club president Michael Osekre, Vision FC is on the verge of securing a Ghana Premier League spot, leading Zone 3 of the Division League by 3 points with 2 rounds of games to end the season. coached by one of the youngest coaches in Ghana, Hamza Obeng, who joined the club in the middle of last season. The former Heart of Oak deputy coach has guided the team to the top of the table and are close to qualifying for the Premier League after being domiciled in Division 1 League since the 2015-2016 season. Needing 4 points out of the remaining 2 games of the season, Coach Hamza Obeng, speaking to GHOne TV Sports at their training grounds, revealed what Ghana Premier League qualification will mean to him and Vision FC.
First of all, it has been a very difficult season for us, and then I think the guys I'm working with, they are tactically disciplined. All what they have been done at training, hopefully they are able to implement it in the game, and have been helping us from day one to now. So we are just pushing. We are not done yet. The motive, we have a motive of which we have to achieve. So we are still on course. Well, it will be very special as well. I think it has put me to a certain stage of which I wasn't expecting near. But looking at the work that we did and the guys that we are working, that is the players, I think fantastic. They've done fantastic job, and we are hoping all what we started from day one, we will achieve a good result.
For those sports updates, let's do entertainment next.
Final.
Ghanaian music sensation Kim Promise says it is unfair to compare Ghanaian and Nigerian music industries. Speaking on Star Chat with Bolore on Thursday, the artist emphasized that such comparisons are inherently unfair, citing vast differences in numbers, investments, and infrastructure.
I think it's unfair to compare the Ghanaian music industry to Nigeria. Because there are so many people, so many bases you can base your argument on. If it's just with music, then it's fair, because I believe we as Ghanaians have amazing music that can compete.
It's respect to
with
music.
Anybody,
yes.
You understand? But then there's other factors such as investment, just growth and the mindset of the people alone, and also numbers-wise. You know what I mean? Like Lagos alone, which is not the capital of Nigeria, is like bigger than
Ghana.
the whole of Ghana.
Yes.
Bigger, not even So numbers we can't close our eyes on, because they play an important role. If you have one chairman for Nigeria call you say, you is young, you also can't take 100,000. You did try for yourself.
That's $100,000.
Yes, sir. I don't sure you get a chairman for Ghana.
Ghana will do.
Anticipating victory as Artist of the Year at the upcoming Telecel Ghana Music Awards on Saturday, Kim Promise pledges to create global opportunities for fellow artists and elevate the Ghanaian music industry to compete on par with other nations. He made this remark during his interview with Bolore on Star Chat.
Let them know that they have a rightful competitor when it comes to African music to the world. Not just Ghana. This is Ghana to the world, but it's Africa to the world, where my plan is to make sure that we are competing on a global scale, which I have been doing for a while now. And I believe even with their support, it will be crazier. And also, whichever doorway we open, everybody go walk inside. I know we just...
Wow. So 2 things you said. If you're crowned Artist of the Year, you're actually going to open doors for everyone, and you feel that you are the one.
Why would you open the door and you go come back saying, "I'm me do am"? Okay, what do you do for everybody? If I do something for everybody else, that be the whole goal.
Time for the
That does it for the 60 minutes of Newsroom with me, Nadeema Umar Uthman. Log on to starfm.com.gh for more news. Good afternoon.